I get a lot wrong on this show. I get a lot wrong in my everyday life. Just ask my wife. She would love to tell you. I don't think you could get something more right than I did yesterday. So I always tell you when I get stuff wrong, I drilled it yesterday with this Miami Dolphins situation. I told you Dolphins were going to bench Tua Tagovailoa. I felt it was obvious. And I told you that obviously it was going to be Zach Wilson or Quinn Ewers. I even speculated that it would be Ewers and not Zach Wilson. And I told you that there's no way that tomorrow, that once this is announced, the Bengals are going to be only -2.5 on the road at Miami. Lo and behold, here's Quinn Ewers. We bypass Zach Wilson, and the point spread's 4. Femi and I will break down how to bet that game now at current price in a little bit. And this now sets up a fascinating game on Sunday, both from a betting perspective and a real-life perspective. And we'll get to the bets in a second. But I want everyone to think of things with this game in these terms, right? There's so much heat right now on Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel. Deservedly so. And yesterday on the show, I laid out the blueprint for Mike McDaniel keeping his job. For me, he shows that he's kind of like baby Kyle Shanahan. And he can take basically a quarterback not named Tua Tagovailoa, in this instance, Quinn Ewers, and do like what Kyle Shanahan can do. Take like your curtain jerking jabroni, 7th round quarterback, like literally Brock Purdy, and turn him into something at least decent. And like he doesn't have to be as good as Purdy, obviously, but have a functional offense with a quarterback that's not named Tua Tagovailoa. And even if the Dolphins lose on Sunday, which I think they will, to Cincinnati, even if they lose, I think that if the offense looks functional over the final 3 games, my sense is that's enough for Mike McDaniel to keep his job. The most interesting coaching story that will come out of this game on Sunday, for me, is not on the Miami sideline. It's on the Bengals. Because it's heating up. The seat's heating up for Zach Taylor. Bengals head coach Zach Taylor asked today by the news media in Cincinnati about a reported contract extension that he signed through 2027. He declined to answer, and in kind of snippy fashion, like basically deflected the question to Bengals ownership. Wow, I'm sure Bengals ownership can't wait to speak to the media about this, Zach. Joe Burrow is pissed. How do we know that? Because he tells anyone with ears and a microphone that he's not happy. Said it last week, that he's not having fun, which clearly is a shot to the organization. If you want me long-term here, you don't want me to make any waves, can we just be a serious football team, please? That's what Joe Burrow wants. I don't think he wants out of Cincinnati. He doesn't strike me as that type of guy. Basically has become someone like a recluse from the media. I'm not insulting him when I say that. I think it's kind of true. Like, I think he just wants to live his life and do whatever he does off camera, which I'm sure is really fun, and win football games. And right now, he ain't winning football games. And last year he played at an MVP level and they didn't even make the playoffs. Cincinnati is 4-10. And yes, Joe Burrow missed a lot of time this season. But you see across the NFL every year, and we'll use Kyle Shanahan, right? It's not just Brock Purdy that missed time for the Niners. They lost their best 2 defensive players, 2 Hall of Famers in Fred Warner and Nick Bosa. Lost Ricky Pearsall. Lost George Kittle. Didn't make a difference. The beat goes on. They keep on winning. They're going to the postseason. Cincinnati loses Joe Burrow, and the whole thing falls apart. And now Zach Taylor is starting to answer questions from the Bengals media about his job status. And the quarterback is not happy. And the quarterback is the franchise. And if you had to fire one, you're never firing the franchise quarterback. Never. My guess is you, the listener or viewer, you are thinking about this game on Sunday as if the Bengals win and Mike McDaniel might lose his job. I would encourage you to think of it in these terms instead. If the Cincinnati Bengals lose this game, Zach Taylor could lose his. And I don't think it would be this coming Monday. I'm not saying that. But they lose this game, and they're finishing the year no better than 6-11. I think there's a chance he's out. And if that happens, Femi and I this year in the offseason, we were anti-Bengals, right? Wanted nothing to do with Cincinnati, even with a healthy Joe Burrow. They hire a different coach. Burrow's healthy. Oh, yeah. We can have a conversation about the 2026. Femi with me. Femi, thoughts on Tua Tagovailoa benched, Quinn Ewers in, betting market, etc.?
Oh, man. We did hear comments from Tua. At least I saw a tweet that has the quote. He met with the media. This is what he said. He said, quote, "I would say the biggest thing, and it's being honest with myself as well, has been my performance. I haven't been performing up to the level and the capabilities that I have in the past." So that is Tua on his benching. Said he was disappointed.
I respect that.
He wasn't
I
happy.
respect him saying
that.
that.
He owned it. He owned it. I mean, I was calling for him to be benched after they lost to Baltimore.
Yeah.
Like that's how.
And then they won 4 straight games after that, right?
And then they won. Yeah, they won the games and they stayed in playoff contention, which kind of kept like this like fake hope of, oh, maybe we can get to the postseason. Like, dude, like you're like 100-1 to make the playoffs. Like, you're not going to get there. Like, obviously, they're not going to think about it in that lens. But like, if we're being pragmatic about it, like, come on, like this, you needed like some like hocus pocus help, and also to like win the game to be able, or like win out to get to the postseason. So, I guess better late than never. They finally did it, but they had to do this. I mean, I wasn't on the show with you guys yesterday on Tuesday. Like, watching the game Monday night, it's like, dude, I don't know what he was doing out there. And it's not just the interception. Like, it's the taking sacks when you clearly know, like, bro, like, got to get rid of the football. You've been back there for like 5 seconds. Nobody's open. Just throw it away. Now I'm going to take like a 10-yard sack. How about that? Like, it's just, you can't function with that. And maybe Quinn Ewers has something. I doubt it based on what I saw during his college career, but I could definitely be wrong. But at least we have to see something new. And for the Dolphins, this is the end of the Tua Tagovailoa era, which it was always what it was. Like, hey, like maybe a wild card appearance where you get beat and you march on to the next season. So I think this is, in the long term, a good thing for Miami. And for Tua, I'm not so sure anyone's going to give him a chance, to be quite honest.
Well, I could see. So let's parse that a little bit. Like, is Tua going to get a chance? Like, he'll obviously, and I know you're not suggesting that he wouldn't be on a roster. Like, he'll be on a roster.
No, I mean, that's like a week 1 starter as well.
Well, how about this? I think he could potentially be a week 1 starter, but not in a, like, he's the franchise situation. Like, in a, like, bridge quarterback situation, like, you know, like a team that's in transition and like Tua starts the year and then there's like another young quarterback and they don't have quite their quarterback of the future yet. I think there could be like a funky situation like that where Tua could potentially be a team starter next year to begin the year. But like his days of being like, here's the keys to the franchise, like those days are
that's done.
Like that's done.
That's done. Yeah, absolutely done. Like you have to have some sort of like comebacks, like Geno Smith type season or whatever. And even then, I think there are going to be people who are skeptical of what he's doing. But I guess the reason why I think that he might be done as a week 1 starter, I mean, his injury history is always a part of the conversation, as it should be. How do you sign up for this guy to be your starting quarterback with all of these concussions? He's a durability concern.
Yeah.
Backup, that's one thing. Hey, be in the room, be a good teammate, help out the starter. Cool. And of course, for the next team, it's going to be at a much, much better cost than it was for Miami. But man, this guy's our week 1 starter. Like, he could be one hit away from being done for the year. You can say that about any quarterback, but we know, like, if we're being honest, like, this guy's injury history, it matters. It's a part of the conversation, and I just don't think teams are going to want to take that risk.
Let me ask you this question about Quinn Ewers. So Ewers goes in the 7th round of the draft. You know, in the dynasty league that Bill and Tyler and myself are in, I had Quinn Ewers on my roster and I dropped him. I wish I still had him. Just like have him, you know. Like,
someone else picked him up, I'm assuming?
I think he's probably out there. Now, Tyler wrote just now in our chat, don't worry, he's not very good. Now, he obviously, like, he did not play well at the end of the year for Texas, specifically in the semifinal loss to Ohio State. There were a lot of reports that, like, he had a back injury, right, last year at Texas.
Yep.
Is it?
Correct.
I don't know. Is it possible that he can be? I guess, like, we won't know. And it's probably less about him and more, can Mike McDaniel be like McVay, like Shanahan, and take like random quarterback and have a functional offense around random quarterback? Is Mike McDaniel that type of coach? And that takes us, Femi, into the betting market where, look, the number that I talked about yesterday was like never going to last once it was announced. And hopefully our listeners and viewers were able to get some Bengals 2.5. The number is now 4. 47.5 is the total. The game is in Miami on Sunday. You want to do anything with this?
The side, not necessarily, because I don't think I'd ever want to lay 4 with this Bengals defense based on what I've seen. Like, they can't get a stop to save their lives. Taking the 4, I just don't think Ewers is good. But given the fact that he's going against a bad defense, if anything, I'd be inclined to bet the over in the game and just hope that Joe Burrow and Chase can figure out whatever the heck was going wrong in the cold this past Sunday. And maybe the Bengals are able to score, and maybe this Dolphins offense, if Mike McDaniel is the mad scientist that can devise like a nice scheme, maybe we get a high-scoring game between these two teams. But I don't want any parts of the side. I want no parts of the side whatsoever. I think it's bet on the upside of Ewers in a high-scoring game as opposed to betting him to keep the game competitive against, I know he's not playing well right now, but one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
See, I almost think the question is not, like, is Quinn Ewers good? I think the question is, can Mike McDaniel, like, make it happen with Quinn Ewers?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you need Ewers to also function, too. Like, because if he can't function, then it's, I mean, look, he didn't make it happen with Tua.
Well, define, because, well, okay. I said yesterday on the show that I'm just curious your answer to this question. So I'm going to create a scenario. 4th and 3, right? Mm-hmm. Quarterback rolls out and has to make a decision. So 2 things have to happen. 1, you have to make the decision to run or do something else. And 2, can they get 3 yards and get you the first down after making that decision? If I gave you a choice of the 2 quarterbacks that played in Monday night's game, Tua or 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers, who would you choose?
Oh, give me Rodgers.
Okay.
Not even.
Okay.
Yeah,
which is a stinging indictment of Tua, who I've been saying he should just go join the bloodline in WWE. Like, go tag with, like,
Rodgers is a cast on his left wrist, like, for goodness sake. But I'm saying,
yes.
Give me Rodgers. Like,
so you are going to have, like, Quinn Ewers is obviously more fleet of foot than Tua. So I think, like, I almost think, like, it didn't matter if it was, it doesn't even matter who it is. It's not Tua. I feel like it has to be an upgrade just because it's not Tua Tagovailoa. And I can't believe that we're there with saying that. Like, I'm being serious. Like, Mac Jones. You'd rather have Mac Jones, right? And I'm not saying Quinn Ewers is Mac Jones, but can Mike McDaniel get that, coax that type of effort? Like Kyle Shanahan did for Mac Jones, just as an example. I know Mac's a former first-round pick, but I think you see where I'm going.
Yeah, but see, I guess I struggle with that it has to be better because this was a 7th-round draft pick. And yeah, like, Brock Purdy was a 7th-round pick, and he was awesome, and continues to be really, really good. But I don't know. I just can't get out of my mind watching you. I watched Ewers in college, and he wasn't good. That's how. Like, that's kind of where I'm at. And maybe it was the back injury, but, like, was he had a back injury for multiple years? Because, like, Sark's one of the best play callers in college football. We've seen guys perform with Sark. Like, look at Mac Jones. Had, like, the best passer rating in, like, college football history with Steve Sarkisian and Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle and those guys. Like, that's an offense that can function well. He had Bijan Robinson was on his team, and somehow it wasn't clicking. So that's where I struggle with Quinn Ewers, and maybe it's totally unfair to pin all of that against him and just, like, hold on to that for dear life, but I don't have anything else to hold on to other than, like, what the quotes that, like, he's been doing well behind the scenes. Like what does that mean? I don't know. I don't know. I think it can be worse. I do. I really do. Now, that doesn't mean I want to lay 4, but just because there's a potential upside, there's also a potential downside, given the fact that this guy was not very good at the lower level that we saw him with the Texans.
All right. So over would be your look here?
Yeah, I think if you want to be bullish on Ewers, I think let's bet on points. Like McDaniel cuts up that defense, then Burrow and those guys in much better conditions and not like 20-degree weather or whatever it was on Sunday. Those guys find themselves against this Dolphins defense.